Before sending drain holes through the floor, you're always going to want to make sure there isn't a gas tank under there. I'm back, part 4. Seems like I just finished part 3 about 5 minutes ago. What are we going to do? We're going to get this all cleaned up. That's what happens when you don't move the car for a bit. Get all this cleaned up, pull the car back in. We're going to get started on throwing a bumper on this. We'll cut the hood hole for the stacks. Get some door plates on this and strap the doors shut. We'll finish bolting in the rest of the halo. We're going to throw some 14-inch struts on this so I can run the egg tires. And we're going to get this thing pretty much buttoned up and get ready to move on to the next one. So, let's do it. The downfall to buying a well-oiled car is welding on a well-oiled car. Alright, here's the bumper we're going to throw on it. It's rusty, it's pre-ran, it's twisted, but so is the rest of the car, so let's not put anything too nice on it. See if we can show this twisted. I'm going to attempt to weld that on there and maybe weld a pipe or a bar to the other end and see if we can pull that twist out of it. Let's see what we can do.
Never break, always fight, never quit, do it right.
This one's going to involve a bit of filler wire.
Nobody said these welds had to be certified. In stick welding, they call this Texas TIG. If you got too big of a gap, you take a piece of you take a welding rod, stick rod, you put them together, Texas TIG. In this shop, it's called fabrication.
Play the game, win it life, have no shame, there's no time, feel the pain, live the grind, I could change, in my mind, pick a lane, commit and climb, the only way to win it life. I never miss, that's fact, taking big swings, bitch, hand me the bat, put me in the ring, you'll go out in a bag, cause I sing what I...
It's ugly, but it's effective. Okay, got the bumper scabbed on, got some plates cut. You're allowed, for stock class, you're allowed 2x4 by quarter plates, 2 per frame rail. I'm gonna try something a little different. Got these plates that are a little thinner. They're about 3/16 or so. I'm gonna try that instead. On the last car, I destroyed the frame rails and destroyed the subframe on it. It's partially my own fault. But I'm going to see if keeping a little bit of pressure off that frame Helps it last longer. See if we can get these crush boxes to collapse in a little bit without losing the bumper completely. So we'll see how this works out. Okay, I finished getting the bumper scabbed on the front of this thing. I still need a couple points of wire there to go up to the rad cradle in case it gets tore off. Hopefully keep bumpers off the track. Moved on to the passenger door. Did my seat belting across the bottom, top, keep it closed. You can have a door plate on the side, but I don't generally run them. I try to belt the door up good and hope that keeps it from caving in. So we've got some supplies over here. We're going to do the same thing to this side, get it all belted and get our steel plate put on. Let's get the GoPro fired up and get at it.
Welcome to my party.
Whenever possible, I try to fasten my doors around the rockers. That way, if you do happen to take an unlucky shot in the door, if you only attach at the front and the rear, this whole door can actually banana in and it's going to get into you. If you grab the rocker, it has hopefully a less chance of the door coming in and breaking your arm. Just a little tip. You can see on that side how it's wrapped. It's still possible that door can come in, but it's a lot less likely for it to skip over the rocker and banana in as bad.
I'm going crazy, don't think I'll get on stage. Taking 6 shots all straight to the face. I'm taking 6 shots, are you coming with me? Sometimes you need to let loose, grab juice, get goose, tattoos, taboos, get screwed. Loosen up, buttercup, all those hate comments will never.
Here's my tip on any bolts you're going to put in your derby car. If you use one of these, that's a serrated flange nut. If you put that on the spot of the car, that's the hardest to reach. So when I'm doing this door plate, I'm going to put those on the inside. So once my doors all smash in and I go to strip this car, there's a good chance that if I can't go in there and reach this with a wrench, if I just spin this nut off, or if I spin the bolt, that nut's going to hold itself and it's going to drop down to the door. You get your door plate back and you just send the rest to scrap. Works great.
Make you feel enough. We're all adequate graduates, heart full of calluses, but we know calculus. Damn, ain't that fabulous? Can't wait to apply all those mathematicus. But we can't get a job that pays us enough. I'm about to pop off. Fuck you, you're lost. We all know that we never really want a boss. So I'ma do what I want to. Something I can't undo.
Alright, that's the gist of the door on this thing. Something that's real satisfying when you're building a car is a car that has rockers. It would have been nice to weld to those. You don't always find the cleanest cars, so I like to point that out when you get one. Alright, door's done, door plate's on, got the halo bolted on. So I just have it on these, see here, I have post welded to my post-to-post bar, stick up with holes in them, and then my halo is made out of a bigger size tubing. Slide it over, stick a bolt through, and there's your bolt on halo bar. And then these bolt flanges here to take them apart. I struggled a little bit putting them together. When I mounted my seat bar, or my post-to-post bar, when I mounted it, I went a little too low. I don't know if you can see it or not. There's a big dip in the roof. I had to pull it down a little bit, but it's the way it goes sometimes. Another thing I struggled with, when you do a two-door car, putting in the bolts for the back of that door plate are behind that section there. And the only openings you have are in the bottom, so they can be tricky to get sometimes. That's just the way I do it. There's probably a better way to do it, but I just prefer to struggle. So what's next on the list? What do we got here? We're going to swap out the struts, put 14-inch struts on it so I can run my smaller tires. Still got to do that. We can probably take the cut. We'll cut the hood and mount it today. Get that taken care of. Got to drop the original fuel tank. It's still in here. Do the seat, the strap for behind the seat to support it. Bleed the brakes. Find a place for a fire extinguisher in this thing. A lot of cars, I'll put them in the side of my, just slice a hole and put them in the fabric on the side of my seat. I don't really like that though. Every time you get hit, the handle of the fire extinguisher rubs into the back of your arm and cuts it and bruises it and a bunch of fun stuff. So yeah, let's tackle this cutting this hood next and get it mounted on. One more thing I've been meaning to point out is this. This is the factory lap belt out of the back seat of this car. Ditch the shoulder strap, because all that's going to do is every time you get hit, it's going to put a whole pile of pressure on your shoulder and your collarbone and your chest, and you'll probably end up with some bruises, especially if you like to drive forward and drive forward hard. And save those out of the cars. You might run into a car that doesn't have a lap belt, and then you'll be looking for one. So just pull those out of the cars when you're done with them, and reuse them every time. But that's what I do. Then there's a lot of arguments for people saying that run a lap belt instead of a shoulder belt. Alright guys, this video is starting to get a little long, so I think we'll make one more of it. In the next one we'll finish up swapping out the struts, do a little paint, some vinyl work for the sponsors, and just some finishing touches and final thoughts before we go out and smash this thing. So we'll catch you in the next one.